Do you want to be a professional cyclist, a professional road cyclist, when you're older? Maybe if you're watching this, obviously, you have to be quite young. But I would recommend that you don't want to be, okay? You don't want to be a professional cyclist like Tadej Pogačar or Peter Sagan. I don't think it's a very good idea, and there's easier ways to make a living. However, if you want to pursue it, regardless of what I say, because what do I know, then these are some things that you definitely need to know if you're a budding or an aspiring professional cyclist. And this goes for men and for women, for boys and girls. First thing you need to take into account is your physical health. So when I mean physical health, I mean depending on what age you are, have you been starving yourself in order to get yourself lean? So I'm always lean, and that's because I eat a sustainably healthy vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein diet lifestyle. So even with exercising, or rather without exercising, I'm lean. But with cycling, I get very lean. So yeah, I was 65 kilos this morning, and I'm 5'11", and I'm a man, if you couldn't tell. If you've been cutting your calories, you've been in a calorie deficit for years, then you are going to be potentially lean, but also you're going to be unhealthy, okay? So there's crashes. There are always lots of crashes in professional cycling. And the reason for this really is, it's just bad behavior. But if you fall off, and you're probably going to be falling off a lot, regardless of how good you think your bike handling skills are, you're probably going to break something. And this especially goes for young women. Just because society says that you should look a certain way and you should cut calories, be in a calorie deficit, it means that your bone health is definitely going to deteriorate because you've been just not eating enough. So your bone health isn't going to be very good. So you're probably going to break. Every time you fall, you're going to break a bone because you're unhealthy. So this is something that you need to change before you become anywhere near wanting to be a professional. You'd need to take a few years to essentially reset your health. And yeah, your bones, they take a while to improve. And I recommend firstly cutting out all of the animal products. Cut them out, because the high protein in foods or animal products, like for example dairy milk, it leaches calcium out the bones. And I know that my bones are strong because last July or last June, last summer, so it's been a year now, I was hit by a car at 40 miles an hour, bounced along the road at 40 miles an hour, and I didn't break a single bone. So I know that what I eat, the lifestyle that I live, you need to follow what I would recommend, which is vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein, no animal products, food such as white rice, and as much of it as you want to feel full, and bananas, maybe bananas if you want, as much of them to feel full, and sugar while you're riding, at least 100 grams of sugar an hour, never counting calories, never in a calorie deficit. So that's the first thing that you need to change, or you need to have in mind if you're setting out now on your 5-year goal, or however long it takes. Never give up. I would say that's the second thing. If you really are wanting to become a professional cyclist and spend your days looking at beautiful views like this, then yeah, you need to never give up. Okay, you know, the oldest professional cyclist who won a Grand Tour was Chris Horner, and I believe, tell me if I'm right or not, I can't remember quite off the top of my head, but I believe he was about 41. As he says, he's the oldest Grand Tour winner in the galaxy. So yeah, never give up. Age is only what you see on the outside. It's what is on the inside that counts. Okay, it's your health and your mental well-being on the inside. So that's the next thing. Mentally, being a professional cyclist as a job, essentially that's what you're doing it for. I don't know how many more things physically and mentally are more stressful, are harder on your mental health than being a professional athlete, and especially cycling above all else, just because there's so many variables, there's so many things that can go wrong, and so many times that you might do the same training year in year out, but for some reason one summer, when maybe last year you were really fit and felt good and were on top form, sorry about the noise, but then the following year you do the same thing, but for some reason the watts, the power, they're nowhere to be found, and you feel terrible. And then maybe for some reason suddenly after a month maybe have a bit of a rest, and then suddenly it all comes back. And there's times like this, even on the vegan high sugar diet, I felt like that, and I still don't know why. Maybe months at a time I just feel bad, I just can't do what I want to do, and then all of a sudden it just, something starts to click and you feel better. But say there's so many variables, you know, you need to get it right. So it's not just diet, it's also, you know, sleep's important, and therefore all the things that affect sleep. So no drugs, no stimulants, no caffeine. You know, the hormone balance in your body affects mentally and physically how you feel and your health. Okay, so health is essentially your hormone balance. This is what health is really when people talk about what's health. It's your hormones. Okay, they affect your weight, they affect how you feel, they affect your daily routine, and therefore they affect how fast you go on the bike. So there's a number of things that you need to think about that no one's really going to tell you. If you say, well, I want to be like Pogačar or Peter Sagan or Remco Evenepoel and these sorts of people, maybe as well, if you're inspired from seeing video footage from the past, people like Lance Armstrong, although people don't like to hear his name, but the reason why cycling is so big now is because those people who are riding now were inspired by watching Lance Armstrong. And there's a lot of companies that are still in the professional cycling world that made a lot of money out of people that were riding around Lance Armstrong's era. So yes, that's another thing you have to realize in cycling, in pro cycling. There's drug use, okay? And it might be more widespread than you've been led to believe. So yes, they say it's the cleanest the sport's ever been, professional cycling or road cycling. But you'd have to say, yes, it's getting faster, isn't it? If you look at the average speeds, road racing is getting faster, and they say that's because of nutrition. They say that's because of the technology. But at the end of the day, it's all you're doing is making money for other people. Okay, so if you're good and you get to the $1 million contract, if you're getting $1 million, that means the people that are paying you are making a lot of money. Okay, So you're just a flying advertisement board, okay, at the end of the day. But if it's your passion, then I would say pursue it, because most people are just surviving day to day, or believe that that's all they need to do, is to work a minimum wage job, 9 to 5, to pay for things that they don't need. So I say earn money to buy the foods that make you healthy, to live the lifestyle that allows you to live your passion. But there are things that you need to take into account if you want to be a professional cyclist. It's not like doing a 9 to 5 job, okay? People don't quite understand when they at the side of the road watching a bike race what's actually involved. So these are the things you need to take into account. I say, especially for women, young women wanting to get into professional cycling, is don't count calories, okay? So what you see on social media is not real. It's photoshopped, or they're taking hormones, certain hormones, or they themselves, these models, are starving through calorie counting in a calorie deficit, and eventually they'll burn out. And it happens to men and women. It happens to a lot of professional cyclists after they've stopped competing. They were lean perhaps most of their career, and then as soon as they stop, they balloon in weight because they put on loads of fat, because they've been counting calories and not known how to eat properly. Okay, so if you want to be a professional cyclist, you also need to find a healthy way to live, not a balanced or Mediterranean style lifestyle where you just eat everything in moderation. Okay, so doctors or nutritionists will tell you healthy balanced diet or Mediterranean diet or anything in moderation. Okay, so this will lead to you becoming fat in the long run. What you need to do is vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein. I've eaten like the way that I live for years, and I'm always lean. I don't yo-yo in weight. I don't have bad bone health. I've fallen off a number of times, usually because other people knock me off. So that's, you need to understand, basically everyone, once you get into a bike race, everyone just becomes psychopaths, okay? So they might seem normal and they'll be chatting to you maybe at the start line, or they're all nice and chatty, but then as soon as they get into a bike race, they become psychopaths, okay? They'll be trying to knock you down, or they'll do crazy things, crazy risk-taking behavior, and then afterwards they might all be all nice again. So you need to understand that, everyone is a psychopath once they get on one of these, and they're in a race, okay? So as soon as you're in a race on one of these, normal goes out the window and everyone just becomes someone else who isn't very nice, really. So if you want to be a pro cyclist, then go for it, but you need to understand the risks, and also not to believe what you see on social media about, oh well, if you're a professional cyclist, the nutrition is highly controlled by people who know what they're doing. Okay, they don't. Nutritionists are just told the latest fads in nutrition. If that might be, oh well, you can't get enough protein from plants or from plant foods, or you have to eat a Mediterranean diet or a balanced diet or a balanced healthy diet, or everything in moderation. These things have been said for years and they don't work, okay? So there's no such thing as a highly controlled professional diet. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe. If you want to find out what you should eat, then get in touch if you want coaching for that. If you want to know how I'm always lean, and maybe You want to improve your life quality, and not just as a professional cyclist. If you just want to be lean and healthy and live a lifestyle that allows you to get out into nature and up the hills. So I've just come up a hill and it was easy because I'm on a 6.8 kilo road bike and I'm 65 kilos, and yeah, 250 watts, super easy. So I'll see you in the next one, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and yeah, subscribe so you don't miss any more videos, or don't, and go and watch someone else's channel and get recommended the diet that will destroy your health and so that you'll stay fat the rest of your life. Decision's up to you. You can do exactly what you want with your life, but I'm choosing to be lean and healthy with mine and enjoy the freedom of the bike. If you want to be a pro cyclist, sell your car, get one of these.